across those three areas. And with that, I'd like to invite Deputy Secretary Danley to take the floor.
Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here. I want to begin by thanking our hosts for the extraordinarily gracious and warm welcome that we've had since we've been here, and for the IISS for the continuing engagement and the importance of this forum that has been around for decades. And just from the discussions that we've had and the interactions with the other delegates and people here, it is as vital as it ever has been. So thank you. I agree with the basic premise that we've heard now a couple of times that energy security is national security. That, of course, is why it is that we're focusing on it in this forum. I will say that in that vein, it is critical for us to realize that the ultimate objective is living together harmoniously and through peace, achieving prosperity for everyone. Right? The purpose of the national security element here is to ensure that we have the kind of stability that we bring the world in this region from whatever struggles we have and friction into a time of peace and tranquility that allows us to move forward and ensure that the people of every country within the region can live prosperous, happy lives. And of course, energy is the underpinning to all prosperity. The question before us is how we as leaders in our various countries are going to be able to ensure that prosperity. And the answer, which is the centerpiece of President Trump's vision and Secretary Wright's vision, is affordable, reliable, and secure energy. That means that we recognize that energy is the underpinning of every sector of the economy, right? Energy is thought of as just one sector, but in reality it underpins absolutely everything that's done in every economy. And this is why, as you heard earlier from Secretary Burgum earlier this morning, the policy of the United States now is not one of energy transition, it is one of energy addition, right? We want to ensure that we have as much reliable, affordable, secure energy, and that comes in all manner of forms that are dispatchable and readily used, so that we can power all of the requirements of modernity, modern life, industrialization, data centers. We live in a time of extraordinary change, both in the security landscape and in the energy landscape, right? We have threats to national security all of us face that are emergent, vectors that we've never seen before, evolving at a pace that's extraordinarily rapid and changing at all times. And we have a set of demands that we've never seen before, rising demand, especially for electricity, in virtually every country that has never been seen at this rate before. The way to handle that is, again, the attitude of abundance, and it's through energy abundance in as many forms and from as many quarters as we can find it that we're going to be able to meet that demand. Now, within the region, what our hope is to ensure that we have as many ties between the various countries in the region as we can to ensure that there is shared prosperity and a shared destiny, and even taking the morality tale of relying upon Russian oil and gas. The hope is that friends and allies between themselves can enter into the mutually beneficial commercial arrangements that will ensure that everybody gets to share in the abundance and that every country manages to engage in the kind of profitable mutual trade that ensures that everybody is able to have the most prosperous country that they can. I was in Baghdad this last week to attend the signing ceremony for Accelerate Energy's new LNG terminal that is going to allow for the import of a large quantity of LNG into Iraq. This, of course, is historic not only because it portends a great increase in the total amount of electric generation Iraq is going to have. I've seen varying estimates, as much as twice as many the number of hours of electric power delivered as has been before once it's up and running. But I think of it more as a typification of the very point that I'm getting at, that in times of chaos, it's very difficult to have that kind of infrastructure built, which is critical to the delivery of energy. It's also impossible to enter into the commercial arrangements necessary as the underpinnings for such deals to be made between countries and counterparties. That project is critical, and I'm hoping it's going to be the first of many that ties the entire region together so that throughout the whole of the Middle East, we have as many commercial arrangements between countries that Iraq can be a partner, for example, to Syria, exporting electricity to help Syria as it goes through its reconstruction effort, as the Gulf going forward provides energy to the rest of the Middle East. These are the basic premises of the President's energy policy, which is peace and trade so that everybody can be as prosperous and happy as possible. As I mentioned, we're at this remarkable time of change, both for security and for energy. And it's not only the delivery of energy, but it's also the sources. We have an extraordinary amount of LNG that is being sold across the world. In fact, in the United States, we have doubled the total amount of permitted authorized exports, doubled it in the last year to about 13 BCF, and we're going to be doubling that number again in the coming, let's say, 4, 5, 6 years as new LNG export terminals come online. That is geostrategically critical, and the United States wants to be the best possible partner, a reliable and solid partner to our friends and allies to ensure that they too can reap the benefits of American energy abundance. And of course, we're blessed with extraordinarily abundant energy in the United States, and we want to make it available to the entire world, including to ourselves, of course, and engage in as much of the mutually beneficial trade that's the centerpiece of the President's policies as possible. This LNG is one facet of it. Another one is nuclear. I think that it's very unlikely that we are going to be able over the long term to meet the kind of demand we're seeing, especially from reindustrialization, manufacturing, and data centers as we've been seeing without a rapid and broad deployment of nuclear power. And the United States has engaged in extremely, I would say, thoughtful but also aggressive development of nuclear power capacity or capability in the United States. We have a pilot program that the Department of Energy is leading in which a dozen-odd different SMR designs are being put forward. They're going to be prototyped under the auspices of the Department of Energy, and then hopefully the plan anyway, a very aggressive timeline, is to bring them to criticality by July 4th of next calendar year. That is less than a year and a half from the inauguration of the President, a breathtaking pace of development, but we're on track for it. And when we manage to get them approved and operational, they're going to end up having a transformative effect, because small modular reactors, not the large gigawatt scale ones, but the small ones are strategically placeable at various points on the bulk power system to not just deliver real power, which of course is critical, but also relieve congestion and transmission constraints, basically yielding a much larger quantity of capacity over the transmission system that exists than previously existed, because the ancillary services provided by the generators will support the bulk power system. These are just a couple of examples of how America, and of course I should say, our hope of course is that you all buy our nuclear technology, right? I'm here in part to encourage you to do so. But it is with efforts such as those that America wants to stand ready and be the greatest partner that we can be to our friends and allies and help everybody share in the energy abundance agenda that the President has. Thank you very much.
Deputy Secretary, thank you very much for those remarks. Affordable, reliable, secure energy. I think you touched upon that attitude of abundance, I think you said, and the importance of reliable partnerships to actually spread that benefit. And I think there's a theme there also where conflict and weak international rules make that a bit harder to achieve. So I wonder how people might want to engage with that point. Osama, may I invite you, Secretary General, may I invite you to take the floor, please.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you very much. It's really a great pleasure for me to be back to Manama Dialogue, and I would like to start by thanking IISS and the Kingdom of Bahrain for the invitation, the warm hospitality, and definitely the excellent organization. And also, it's a pleasure for me to be here among these distinguished panelists talking about the topic of today's session, geopolitics of energy. And I think it could not be more important or timely as this time, and also specifically for our region. the Middle East and the Eastern Mediterranean. And if we can move specifically to the Eastern Mediterranean, I think the least we can say is that the East Mediterranean is geopolitically sensitive region with, I think, a lot of challenges over the past 2 years, mainly the Israel-Gaza war with its different surrounding conflicts. And what's happening is definitely impacting not just the region, but actually the impact goes beyond the region, and it's not exaggerating if we say that it also impacts the whole world. Having said that, I think it's important also to reflect that our region is quite sensitive because not just of the war, but the different shifting influence and competition for power is also adding to the complexity and the geopolitics of our region. I think it's, in spite of what's happening and this geopolitical sensitivity, also the region has a lot of potential for energy resources. Gas already discovered, in addition to more gas potential to be discovered, also massive potential for renewables, solar and wind. This could be seen as more adding to the conflicts, as a fuel for conflicts, but I think we have an opportunity here to change this classical concept about energy, and maybe it could be a catalyst for more stability and resilience in our region. But to do so, how can we do this in spite of all these challenges? I think we need to go beyond geology and geography, and there are several elements to address, but I will try to focus on 3 main elements in this regard. One is that we need to identify and create the proper and favorable opportunities that can be truly win-win and create shared prosperity. The second element is that we need to also to develop policies and environment that are conducive to attract more investments, which are very important to create difference on the ground. The third element is about technology and technology sharing and creating infrastructure that can create a more integrated region that achieve energy security. And maybe I would like to take advantage of these 3 elements and to move to talk about the East Mediterranean gas